Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back to Trackilicious. Hope you all had a great time off during the holidays, being able to enjoy some time with the family, get some time off work, and refresh and get ready for the start of 2026. And we are starting off with a bang with the GT4 rookies in action tonight around the legendary Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit. The format remains the same. Happy New Year, everybody in the chat. Welcome back, Tony. Hello, Metals Dragon. Hello, Sky. Hello, Myonex. Dr. Porkchop. Hello, everybody. Good to have you back with us here on Mondays, back to our regularly scheduled programming with the GT4 rookies, continuing the same format as before. 2 20-minute sprint races with 15-minute qualifying sessions before those races. Hello, Doc Milwy. Let's go racing indeed. We're waiting for the session to tick on over to the qualifying, and we will get down to the track located in Germany virtually, as it is the host of round number 1 this evening, 8-round championship. And if you yourself want to get signed up, the signups are open on SimGrid, !SimGrid. We'll get you a link to get registered for the season if you want to see yourself out on track with our lovely rookies. Welcome in all the old chatters, and welcome in all of the new fans. I see a lot of subscribers, or followers I should say, early on before the stream started, so thank you all for following along as we do in fact have action on the track. Cars begin to roll out for the first qualifying session of 2026. Ezzy Thomas out of the pits in the number 59 KTM, staying with the same car he did from last season and using the same dog box livery. Should be getting a wheel and pedal set sometime in the coming months, and we will look forward to see how that looks compared to the inputs here we're seeing as we have from before, as he did some good commentary work last year as well. Some old faces and some new faces. Paweł Luksha joining us from across the world in Poland in the 43 AMG Motorsports. Welcome in. "12 drivers this evening. With a lot of returning names. Sir Koj back in the AMG. As this is the first set of cars out of, or nearly the first set of cars out of the pits, looking to cross the line and get on their flying laps. João Pedro Barreto joining us. Welcome in the number 6 AMG. Going through the chicane at the end of the lap before the final corner. 3 AMGs in a row there, giving each other plenty of space before the start of their first push laps. Alice Nonohara switching to the KTM this season. out on a push lap here. We'll ride on board through the rest of the first sector and some of Sector 2 with the KTM. We got the Ginetta in front of Giancarlo Bottini, podium finisher from last season, looking to continue that momentum into this year as he carries a bit too much momentum into the corner and goes a little bit deep into the gravel, invalidating his qualifying lap. But Alice Nonohara able to take the hairpin at turn 7 within the bounds of the track and up the hill through the Schumacher S. Climbing the hill, down a few gears, throwing the car to the left, keeping the drift intact, hopefully not slipping wide there, and invalidating the lap and back, slinging the car over to the right-hand side. Down the hill they shoot, through the little kink at turn 12 before the heavy braking zone at the chicane. It is the quick variant of the chicane here, unlike the Formula 1 layout, which is a little bit sooner than this one and much tighter. This one a lot more open, can take it in a lot higher gear. And then just one corner remains before the start-finish line for Alice Nonohara to put the first lap of 2026 on the board. And it's a 2:08.825 for the rest of the field to try and chase down. John Kilcoyne in the number 44 Aston Martin, rounding the final corner as we have laps on the board from Sir Kojay, taking that provisional pole position away as John Kilcoyne takes that away from Sir Kojay. So the 44 Aston moves into the top spot, with Luksha getting a lap on the board, now dropping to 6th, and that is Prakash Natsan getting on the board in 2nd place in the number 82 AMG. '27 McLaren of Freyr goes to the top, a 2:06.885, the time to chase. Good lap time set there from the number 27. That's about 2/10 up on the next car, the Aston Martin, as Dr. Porkchop goes to 3rd place in his number 71 Aston Martin. No valid lap on the board yet from the 2nd KTM on the field. We can't say the lone KTM anymore. Oh, and looks like some lag trouble there from us. Cars are still rolling though. Hezzy's still here. Going through the chicane and into the final corner. 15 turns around this track. Hezzy Thomas gets on the board in the number 59, as we are just waiting for a lap time from Giancarlo Bottini. John Kilcoyne retakes provisional pole with a 2:06.5 on the board from the number 44 Aston Martin, followed by Freyr. Then Natasan rounds out the podium positions. Dr. Porkchop in 4th in the pits, as is Sir Kojay in the pits, that is. He's in 5th. Barretto in 6th. Duchy 7th. Alice Nonohara 8th. Josh Ransom in 9th. Luksha in 10th. Hezzy Thomas in 11th. And Giancarlo Bottini, still no time on the board from the number 57 Firebrand Ginetta. I'm also looking forward to some racing, Akane. Hope you've had a good holiday break. We look forward to seeing the action here this evening. 2 races for you, all in store following the qualifying session. 6.5 minutes remain for the drivers to sort out the grid for the first race of the year. So with Alice Nonohara in front, Bottini looking for a time as well as the pair come up to the line. Nonohara up to 7th, Bottini on the board and gets in the top 10 in 8th. The 82 AMG looking to improve to the front row. Currently about a 10th back off of the McLaren in 2nd, but can't find an improvement on this lap. So Prakash will have to go around for another lap. Still time on the board to do a couple of laps. See if he can slot his number 82 AMG onto that front row. Yeah, the calendar certainly full of action-packed tracks. I believe both of the seasons, this one and the multi-class, are absolute awesome calendars to start out the 2026 year. Lots of AMGs on the grid, lots of Ginettas as well. So João Pedro Barreto going through the top of the hill. And now gravity is on his side to help carry the speed all the way down and through the kink. As Barreto looks to get into the top 5, just a few hundredths, not even a few, 100th off of the time of Sir Kojay in 5th, so just a slight improvement. We'll see Barreto ahead of Kojay up in the top 5, and then he needs about 6/10 to get up onto that second row with Dr. Porkchop, and he does just that. Goes up to 4th alongside the number 82 AMG and pushes Dr. Porkchop down to 5th. Dr. Porkchop may have an answer here. The 71. I believe this will be their first push lap after being in the pits. But in these GT4s, it does take some time for the tires to warm up, but not for Dr. Porkchop. He gets that position right back. But that is a big improvement from Sir Kojay in the 333, going all the way from 7th to 2nd place, as he is about a 10th.5 off of the provisional pole time set by John Kilcoyne. Ooh, a little bit wide from Bottini, and he went past the track limit line, so that will invalidate the lap. Lucky for him, just about enough time for him to complete another lap. With just over 2 minutes left on the clock. And unfortunately, Bottini goes back to the pits. That might be the session done for the number 57 Ginetta. Same with the 621 of Rally Duchy and the number 82 AMG of Prakash Natsan in the pits as well from 4th. Let's see what Powell can do in the number 43 AMG. And he is looking for an improvement here, and he gets one as he crosses the line. Pretty much every lap there was better and better from Luksha. So a lot of positives to take there. Just able to get quicker and quicker, and in no time he'll be matching the pace of those just in front. John Kilcoyne looking to improve the benchmark, currently in 0.6540. And he is unable to improve his time. Sir Kojay does improve, gets within 1/10 of a second, but not able to improve on the time set by John Kilcoyne. So second for now will be all that Sir Kojay can manage, but he does have one more lap to try and improve to that top spot. Yeah, has he any word on when you're going to be expecting that wheel? I can understandably so. Understandably so, you're right, thumb hurts. Josh Ransom going up the Schumacher S. Looking for an improvement on his time. Just a handful of cars left as the 42 of Alice Nonohara will return to the pits from 7th. Will Josh Ransom be able to find the time on this lap to get ahead of all of those drivers ahead of him in the pit lane? That's great news, Hezzy. Hopefully you'll have, I think you should have it by the end of the season then. Or at least the start of the next one. Ransom rounds out the final corner. He comes to the checkered flag, and 8th will be where the 325 Ginetta will start. And all 3 Ginettas in a row there from 8th to 10th place. Sir Kojay looking to take that top spot away from John Kilcoyne, who can't answer sitting in the pit lane. Can the 333 AMG find the time to do it? He finds a big improvement and gets about a 10th clear of the 44 Aston Martin. Does Gabriel Freyr have an answer as well? He's about half a second back, but can he get on the front row, potentially ahead of John Kilcoyne? A little bit slidey through the final corner, and that will cost him time as he comes to the checkered flag, unable to get an improvement. So 3rd will be where the 27 will finish, but it is pole position for Sir Kojay to start the new year on a high note. And you're getting a new PC, Hezzy. How about that? All sorts of new stuff to come in the new year for you, my friend. And with the drivers getting their setups loaded for the start of the race, let's start our first grid walk of the year. Sir Kojay starts from provisional pole in the Team AMG Chillbibble GT4, the 333, taking pole position right at the last second with a fantastic lap to get ahead of the car next on the grid. It's John Kilcoyne back for another season in the Firebrand number 44 Aston Martin. starting from the front row and looking to challenge that race lead early on. Next, you have Gabriel Frere in the 27 McLaren. The Golf team lines up in third, and that is a good start. I see KTMs. Yes, Land Cloud. There's plenty of KTMs here this evening. Alongside him on the second row, you've got Prakash Natsan in the Dark Side Racing, number 82 AMG, starting from fourth. Then Dr. Porkchop in the Chop Shop Racing, number 71, switching over from the Alpine this season. And starting in the top 5 in the first race. Alongside him on the third row, João Pedro Barreto in the Pernambuco Racing, number 6 AMG. The number matches the position there. Hopefully we'll bring some good luck to João Pedro in race number 1. Then we have the first KTM of Alice Nonohara, the Wicked Sisters Motorsports, switching from the Ginetta this season. But the race number remains the same, the number 42, looking to improve early on in that KTM. Next, we have the 3 Ginettas, the first of which is Josh Ransom in the 325 TVR, back with the same familiar look on that Ginetta, the distinctive red and black. Then you've got the Firebrand Classic look on the Ginetta of Giancarlo Bottini in the number 57. He starts from 9th place. Then you've got Rally Duchy in the Cusata Racing Academy, number 621. Rounding out the top 10. Engines starting, getting ready for the formation lap to begin here for race number 1. Starting from 11th, you've got Powell Luksha in the AMG Motorsports, number 43. Last but not least, Hezzy Thomas in the Doc Box Racing, number 59. A bit of an oversteer moment there from Sir Kojay, leaving the grid as Hezzy gets the tires warmed up and gets himself ready for race number 1 of the new season, of the new year. Sir Kojay there returning to the pits, and same with Alice Nonohara. So our pole sitter is back in the pit lane. Which means John Kilcoyne will lead the grid from the green light. And already dramas early on here. To start off the new season for Sir Kojay and Alice Nonohara. Our 2 pit lane sitters, the 42 and the 333. Saw Sir Kojay with that spin early on. Perhaps just not getting back into his position in time. "20 minutes, sprint from start to finish, no mandatory pit stops. It is all racing from green lights to the checkered flag." And because it's so nice, we're going to have to do it twice, because after this, we're going to run it back again with a 15-minute qualifying session and another 20-minute race. But this is race number 1 of the new season. And Sir Kojay, in fact, leaving from the pits and gone from the server. So this has really shaken up the standings here. as we begin to line up side by side. Race number 1 coming up. The drivers rounding out the final corner, getting themselves ready for 20 minutes of racing action just after 4 o'clock local time. Sun beginning to set, but the season is starting to rise, and Frere with a big jump from the start moves up to first place, gets ahead of John Kilcoyne, who is getting swamped by some drivers behind there. Pareto with a great start, up from 6th to 2nd place, gets ahead of Kilcoyne. Then you've got Dr. Porkchop slotting into 4th. Then that's Prakash Natsan in 5th, with Bottini moving up to 7th. Josh Ransom with a great start in the Ginetta, moving up a couple of places already. And John Kilcoyne is struggling there in the Aston Martin. A little bit of contact with the AMG, and Dr. Porkchop takes 2 positions there between turn 4 and 5, moving up to 2nd place in the number 71, as John Kilcoyne now has Natasan on his inside, challenging for that 4th place position. And Barreto is not done with his fight, with Dr. Porkchop trying to find an inside move up the hairpin, but there's just not enough room to get the move done here. A little bit of a tap to the back end of the Aston Martin, and I believe John Kilcoyne are again running a little bit wide, and Josh Ransom trying to take full advantage in the Ginetta. Will he have the grip to sweep around the outside of the Schumacher, as he can't quite keep the grip? And that was a fast charging Rally Dutchie, having to go hard on the brakes at the top of the hill to avoid the Ginetta of Josh Ransom. As Rally Dutchie gets the move done on Josh Ransom, he slots back to 7th now. And that's Luksha trying to make up places from the back of the grid. The Aston of Kilcoyne going heavily over the curbs there, as the 27 McLaren got the jump early on and now has a 2.5, nearly 3-second lead over Dr. Porkchop in 2nd place. Then you've got João Pedro Barreto in 3rd after getting the early jump. So after starting from 6th, Natsan in 4th, Rally Dutchie up to 5th place in the Ginetta. He was the last of the 3 Ginettas, now occupying the top spot of those Ginettas. As he drifts a little bit wide on the exit of turn 2, Josh Ransom gets through John Kilcoyne as well. And this has been a very chaotic start for John Kilcoyne, starting from the front, getting swamped early on, and he has not been able to find the optimal racing line since. Now finds himself in 7th place. Needs to use that pace to get past the cars now ahead. This is the battle for 2nd and 3rd between Barreto and Porkchop. Aston Martin ahead, and that's Frere with a mistake at turn number 7, going wide on the exit of the hairpin. The McLaren losing 1st place, losing 2nd place, slots into 3rd. So that gives Dr. Porkchop the lead of the race, followed by Barreto. Then you have Gabriel Frere in the 27 McLaren. There was contact between the front 2. Barreto coming off the worst there. He slots back to 4th behind Natasan, who now finds himself in a podium position. Can't keep our eyes off any of the action. It is all the way up and down the grid. Despite it just being 11 cars, they are very tightly packed. The AMGs showing that they had the pace, with Sir Kojay qualifying on pole, then returning to the pits, unfortunately for him, and then out of the race. And Dr. Porkchop leads the way in the 71 Aston Martin after a mistake from the 27 McLaren saw him lose out on the race lead. Now in a sandwich between Dr. Porkchop and Prakash Natsan. Exactly, there's chaos here, there's chaos there. Neil, I think the 0.06% chaos is a little bit too low. And that's the top four, all in one helicopter shot of each other. With Rally Duchy leading the second pack of cars in the 621 Ginetta from 5th place. But even then, they're not too far off. Just 3.3 seconds separates Rally Duchy from the back of Barreto in 4th place. That sounded like a car going into the gravel, and it was. That's not the sun. In the number 82. Getting back rolling in the correct direction. Losing a good chunk of time, though, unfortunately. Losing that podium position. There's Hezzy Thomas approaching. And able to get through cleanly there. John Kilcoyne begins the fight back, now in 6th, looking to get back into the top 5 ahead of Josh Ransom, who defends the inside. And he goes a little bit deep into the chicane, has to take to the grass, gives the outside line to the 44. Can John Kilcoyne keep the speed and the grip around the outside of the final corner? Very slippery on the outside there, but he's able to do so. And now it is a drag race down into turn 1. Crucially, Josh Ransom has the inside line. Can Kilcoyne once again find the grip in that Aston Martin and hold it around the outside? Josh Ransom going a little bit deep, allowing the over-under for John Kilcoyne. Has a bit of an oversteer moment, and where is Josh Ransom? There he is, unable to stay in front. So the 325 Ginetta will drop back to 6th, and John Kilcoyne back into a top 5 position. Nice pass indeed, just patiently waiting for the opportunity. And it came wide open with Josh Ransom going a little bit deep at turn 1. So the top 4 now becomes the top 3. Dr. Porkchop still leading the way. Gabriel Fair had the fastest lap of the race on the previous lap as he looks to chase down the lead, currently held by the 71 of Dr. Porkchop. This is what the back of the lead car sees. And this is also what's great about the GT, about GT racing, I should say. You got 3 different manufacturers, Aston Martin, McLaren, and AMG, all fighting for this top spot. Pretty evenly matched as well. Thanks, Rathcult. Appreciate the follow. Hope you're having a good Monday. And I hope you are enjoying the action so far. 8.5 minutes gone by so far. Still more than half of the race to go as the top 3 begin to get very close indeed. Yes, this is on PC. Now Dr. Porkchop under pressure. The outside move is on from the 27. McLaren goes a little bit deep, and that's going to allow the AMG of Barreto to go through as well. Oh, and there's some contact further down the grid. Lucia getting involved. The 2 Ginettas of Josh Ransom and Giancarlo Bottini looking like they got in the mix as well. Let's take a look and see if we can catch what happened on the replay here. So Lucia in the middle of the 2 Ginettas going into turn 1. Tries to line up a move down the inside, and Josh Ransom closing the door there, having the corner. A little bit of contact between the two. Giancarlo Bottini able to take advantage and get through the AMG at least. And now Alice Nonohara fighting for this position after starting from the pit lane. Battles absolutely everywhere you look. This is the battle for 4th and 5th between Rally Dutchy and John Kilcoyne. Oh, Rally Dutchy a little bit deep going into turn number 10, but able to keep it under control and around the outside once again. The 44 just finds the grip and carries the speed and gets through on a charge here. Up now to 4th, has about 7.5 seconds to close down the gap to the top 3. As the two Ginettas of Ransom and Bottini go through the chicane to start their 7th racing lap. Josh Ransom ahead of Giancarlo Bottini after that contact on the previous lap. Able to maintain the position ahead of fellow Ginetta driver Giancarlo Bottini. Just look on board from Bottini's Ginetta. Looking at the back of that red and black car of Josh Ransom. These two seem pretty evenly matched on pace. The 3 Ginettas qualified right next to each other on the grid. And they are pretty close to each other in this race as well, with Rally Dutchy just about 5 seconds up the road from the pair of Ginettas here. Bottini a little bit wide on the exit of the hairpin at 7. Just losing a little bit of momentum down that little straight before the Schumacher S, handling it absolutely perfectly there. Judging the curbs to perfection as Josh Ransom going a little bit heavy, kicking up some dust from that rear left tire. And Bottini doing the same, taking the curb very aggressively on the inside in his hot pursuit of Josh Ransom ahead. And it's side by side between the two Ginettas. Josh Ransom once again having the inside line. Will he learn from before and not overbrake himself going into turn 1 this time? He looks to be well under control here, gets to the apex and stays ahead, defended perfectly there by Josh Ransom. Bottini couldn't find the grip to go the long way around, so he will have to tuck back in behind and look for another way around, which is going to be an absolute send into turn 3. A bit of contact from the back of Josh Ransom, spinning the 57 around. Oh, and there's heavy damage to the 82 AMG of Natasans, hoping to defend the position from Hezi Thomas in the dog box racing. Hezi Thomas going down the inside of turn number 4. Or 5, excuse me, gets that move done and stays ahead of the 82. Dr. Porkchop just can't shake Barreto off his tail, maintaining that gap within a second. Pedro Barreto probably has about 3 laps left if he wants to get a move done past Dr. Porkchop. Going a little bit deep into turn 1, just trying to maximize the braking as much as possible. And in doing so, hopefully not compromising his own line too much. As these two have battled for pretty much the whole race here, and as we have less than 5 minutes on the clock. Dr. Porkchop needs to stay strong in this position out in front. With the two having pretty similar best lap times, Barreto has a slightly better lap than Dr. Porkchop. As further back here, John Kilcoyne gets ahead of Gabriel Frere. What happened here? Oh, just too deep on the brakes and having to go onto the gravel is a 27 and sliding through the corner. Getting back on track behind John Kilcoyne, who was back into a podium position here. No worries at all. Happy to have you at the next one, my friend. And now Barreto, just 2 laps remaining for him to try and pull off a move on the 71 Aston of Dr. Porkchop. Nonohara getting ahead of Josh Ransom. It's been a good race for the KTM, but opening up the inside line, Josh Ransom thought about having a look. As this fight might not quite be done yet. Leaders going through the Schumacher S. Barreto closer than he was before on the previous lap through this sector. Can he try and pull off a move or at least stay close to Dr. Porkchop through here to try and pull off a move into the heavy braking zones? Dr. Porkchop has seemed completely unfazed by anything thrown at him from behind, though, as he looks to maintain this pace and position ahead of Barreto. Final lap. Just one 3.2 mile lap left for Dr. Porkchop to take the first win of the season. Unless João Pedro Barreto has something to say about that. A little bit of an oversteer exiting turn 1 won't help his chances of staying close through here. Lots of good overtaking side-by-side opportunities around the Nurburgring, but one of the better opportunities to overtake at turn 1 there with that heavy braking zone right before. As the AMG continues to push on and apply the pressure to Dr. Porkchop. But the Doctor has managed the race very well from the start, getting into a podium position early on, avoiding all the chaos around him, and putting up a good defensive drive up until this point, going through the Schumacher S for the final time in race number 1. Still Barreto within a second behind, applying all the pressure, trying to cut as much as possible to gain on Dr. Porkchop. But the 71 Aston is unfazed. And as they head down the hill, into the chicane for the last time, João Pedro Barreto a little too far back to send a move here. So Dr. Porkchop just needs to take it comfortably, as he does there, and into the final corner he goes before he rounds it and sees the checkered flag waving ahead of him, and he will be the first to take a win in 2026 at Trackilicious, with Barreto across the line. In second place, John Kilcoyne, great recovery drive, back from 7th to 3rd with the fastest lap of the race as well. Rally Dutchy, great race from 10th to 4th in the 621 Ginetta. As Gabriel Frere under pressure from Alice Notohara at the end. And a great race from the 42 KTM, starting from the pits, working their way back to 6th place. Josh Ransom crosses the line in 7th. Giancarlo Bottini will be next in the 57 Ginetta to take 8th place. Ezzy Thomas finishing inside the top 10 in 9th, with Prakash Natasan carrying his heavily wounded Mercedes across the line in 10th. And that is race number 1 concluded. And if that wasn't exciting enough, we're gonna do it all over again.
Green light, go, go, go.
Yeah, Hezzy, you guys had a good fight there. And huge props to Natasan for carrying on, despite the heavy damage onto that car. Yeah, and what Sky said earlier That is a big battle scar indeed. So huge props to Prakash for carrying on in that race, despite what he reported as screen freezes as well, and that was what caused the damage. So hopefully able to avoid that same fate in race number 2. As we are just a few minutes into qualifying number 2. He's back, the 82 in the pits. Still plenty of time left in the qualifying to get a lap on the board. John Kilcoyne with an up, down, up first race. Looking to start on the front row again here in race number 2, as he did alongside Sir Kojay in race number 1. Rally Dutchy with a good showing in race 1 for the Ginettas, starting from 10th. And finishing just outside the podium positions in 4th place. Looking to get a higher grid start here in the second qualifying session. Maybe we'll see the 621 on the podium there. You miss ACC, come back and race here. Plenty of ACC action. The GT4 rookies on Mondays, and then the multi-class GT3 and GT4 championship on Wednesdays starting up this week as well. Giancarlo Bottini gets a time on the board, a 2:08.667. The time to chase down. Alice Notohara gets ahead by about 0.4 of a second as the times begin to appear on the grid. John Kilcoyne, a 2:05.925 from the 44 Aston Martin. Where will Josh Ransom go? He will go ahead of Bottini by a few tenths of a second. '27 of Frere starting their first push lap here. Just under 10 minutes left in the session. Lots of time left to get a time on the board. Right on board with the McLaren for the remainder of the lap. Handling the curbs of the Schumacher S perfectly there is Gabriel Frere in the Golf Team number 27 McLaren as he begins to come back down the hill in the closing part of Sector 2. Sector 1 and Sector 2 relatively long, all things considered. Sector 3 beginning now, with just the chicane and turn 15 being the parts of Sector 3. So the 27 rounds the final corner, and to the line he goes. And it is a front row provisional start at the moment for Frere. Just over 2/10 off of the time set by John Kilcoyne. Rally Dutchy to the line, gets an improvement on their time, but not an improvement on position. Still needs about 9/10 of a second to get past Alice Nonohara. Dr. Porkchop on the board in the top 5. He splits the Ginettas of Bottini and Ransom. Izzy Thomas with just one corner left. That's a big improvement from Izzy Thomas across the line. Improves his lap by about 1.5 seconds there. Prakash able to get the car out on track, but I think just running wide there at turn 10 at the top of the hill will invalidate this qualifying lap attempt. 6 minutes left. And that's not Tassan. Off to the side of the road. Fortunately, here in the qualifying session. The winner from race 1, currently sitting in 5th for the grid of race number 2. Needs about 4/10 to get onto the second row ahead of Giancarlo Bottini. As the Aston pedal to the metal to the line, gets an improvement and gets within 0.5 of the 57 Ginetta's time. Just a slight bit more, and here is the 57 going into turn 10. And that has caught out a number of drivers there, going wide and invalidating the lap. Alice Nonohara just behind. Looking for a big improvement on this lap, but only needs about 0.5 to get past Josh Ransom for 6th place. But Alice is looking higher than that and gets all the way up to the second row alongside Barreto. In 4th place goes the 42 KTM. Lots of action in the pits at the moment. Drivers getting new tires onto the cars. We're going for another push lap attempt. Fortunately, Alice Nonahara invalidating the lap. As we check in with Powell Luksha in the 43 AMG. Needs about a 10th to get ahead of Hezi Thomas. Rounding the final corner, Luksha and Frere. Luksha does get ahead of Hezi Thomas, up to 9th, and just a 10th behind Rally Dutchy. So that's a good lap there from Luksha. And off to the side of the road, and back to the pits they go. Rounding out Sector 1 is the 27. Going into the tight hairpin. Lots of banking, though, to help carry the speed through the corner. As Frere looks to improve his lap by about 0.3 of a second. That is the gap to John Kilcoyne, who has the provisional pole spot with a 2:05.812. He sits in the pits. All he can do is look on and hope no one is able to improve their times around him. At the moment, it is looking pretty good for John Kilcoyne. Through the final corner goes the 27 McLaren. Still time on the clock for another lap, and he will need it as Gabriel Frere, unable to get improvement on that lap. He will be the last to have a flying lap attempt. Alice Nonahara, to finish the qualifying session, takes the checkered flag. 5th will be the highest that the 42 KTM will finish. Unless the cars behind have something to say about that. Dr. Porkchop being one of them, and he does have something to say about it. Gets back inside the top 5 ahead of the 42 KTM. So now you just have the 2 drivers of Hezi Thomas. I lied. It's just 1 driver. It is just down to Hezi Thomas to get an improvement here as he goes through the tight hairpin at turn 7 before shooting up the hill to the Schumacher S. A left and then a right before a medium braking zone. Braking right around the 100-meter board, turning the car in. You can take a lot of curb on the entry. It's a little slidey on the way out. And you want to try to carry as much power through here as possible as it opens up to this long curved straightaway. Now all Hezzy Thomas has left is the chicane and the final corner. 2 braking zones left. He handles the chicane just fine, goes over the curbs perfectly, and into the final corner, getting a drift on in the KTM, trying to get as much speed as possible. But he just can't quite find the time at the end there. And with that, we head into race number 2. The grid is set, 20 minutes of racing ahead. Let's start the grid walk for race number 2. John Kilcoyne takes pole position in the Firebrand, number 44 Aston Martin. After finishing on the podium in the last race, he will look to finish even higher and maybe take that top step in race number 2. Alongside him is Gabriel Frere in the 27 Gulf Team McLaren. Took the lead in race 1 early on. A couple of mistakes saw him fall back out of the podium position, so he just needs to find that consistency here in race number 2, and he should secure himself a dandy podium position to start the season. On the second row, you've got João Pedro Barreto in 3rd in the position he finished. Or excuse me, that's not the position. He finished in 2nd in race number 1. Starting from 3rd this time in the number 6 Pernambuco Racing AMG. And it's an all AMG second row with Prakash Natasan in the Dark Side Racing number 82 alongside him. Hopefully doesn't have the same screen freeze issues here in race number 2 and can carry on fighting for a top 5 position. And Dr. Porkchop rounds out that top 5, the race winner from race 1, starting from 5th in the Chop Shop Racing, number 71, Aston Martin. Alongside him, Alice Nonohara in the Wicked Sisters Motorsports, number 42, KTM. Next, you've got the Firebrand Ginetta of Giancarlo Bottini in the number 57. He starts from 7th place. And once again, the 3 Ginettas find themselves together on the grid. Josh Ransom this time being the middle Ginetta in his TVR 325. In 9th is Rally Duchy, after finishing race 1 in 4th, looking to work their way through the field as effectively as they did in race number 1. Starting from 9th this time in the Kuzata Racing Academy 621. Paolo Luksha in the 43 AMG Motorsports rounds out the top 10. Last but not least, Hezzy Thomas in the 59, looking to get another top 10 finish on the board here to start the season. Engine starting, formation lap underway. And here we go. Formation lap for race number 2. A little bit later in the day. The sun might be a little bit more in the eyes of the drivers here, as we can see how it looks on board from Dr. Porkchop's Aston Martin. What's happened here to Frere, he is off to the side of the road in the number 27. He gets back up and racing. And unfortunately out of position for long enough to send the 27 back to the pit lane. So with Frere going back to the pits, that will promote Natasan, Dr. Porkchop, and the rest of the grid up a position. So Hezzy Thomas does indeed start inside the top 10. So he will look to keep that momentum going into the next 20 minutes of racing we have ahead. If you want to see yourself on this grid, !SimGrid will take you to a link to get signed up and registered with all the information you need to see yourself in next week's race. The grid bunching back up to zipper formation. John Kilcoyne with an empty slot alongside him. You will just have to worry about the cars behind. And so the grid rounding out the final corner, they get set and ready for racing here at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit. It is green and away we go. Good start from the Ginettas, getting ahead of the KTM. Josh Ransom alongside Giancarlo Bottini, as John Kilcoyne has a good advantage going into the first turn. Dr. Porkchop trying to sneak through the inside of Barreto, but there is no room for him to do that. The two Ginettas of Bottini and Ransom up to 4th and 5th place from that start. Prakash Natasan having a look down the inside, almost hitting Josh Ransom, but great control under the brakes there to keep the car out of contact as the KTM of Alice Notohara tries to fight for those positions back. And the two Ginettas are going side by side into turn 5 and into turn 6. Josh Ransom thinking about a look, but not enough alongside to get the move done just yet. So it's a good start from John Kilcoyne, maintains his advantage. Oh, hello, El Taco Man with the raid. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you all for the follows. You join us just in time. It is race number 2 starting out here. The Ginettas, Josh Ransom and Giancarlo Bottini moving up to 4th and 5th after starting from 7th and 8th place, but the pair of them go a little bit wide at turn number 10. And that is allowing Natasan to close the gap, but he's got to worry about Alice Notohara in the KTM behind. Thank you, El Taco Man, for the raid. Hope you're doing well. Always happy to see you around here on Twitch. Hope you guys had a great stream. Welcome in to Trackilicious. It is the GT4 Rookies underway. It is race number 2. 2 20-minute doubleheaders for round number 1 at the Nurburgring this evening. John Kilcoyne with a good jump from the start, stays ahead of Barreto. Dr. Porkchop maintains 3rd place as he gets the early jump into a podium position. Oh, and the Ginetta, the 325. gets spun around at turn 1, and he is at the back of the grid now. The KTM of Alice Nonohara does get through Prakash Natasan in the 82. But the AMG will certainly fight for that position back. Rally Dutchy trying to work through as well, trying to go around the outside, but can't quite find the grip there. As Natasan doing a great defensive job, but it is very tricky to do while also trying to chase down the car in front. Barretto here in an all too familiar position in second place, chasing down an Aston Martin for the lead. This time it's John Kilcoyne instead of Dr. Porkchop, who is closing in on his tail, about 1.7 seconds behind. Looking to keep the pressure on the front too. So Prakash still pushing on here in the 82, not allowing the KTM to really get too far ahead at this point. Giancarlo Bottini getting a good start in the number 57 Ginetta, up to 4th place. He's about 2.5 seconds behind the podium. Nonohara taking the middle of the track there, thinking that Natasan might be going for a deep dive. The 82 does get a little bit closer in that braking zone, but not quite enough to challenge. And this is the place that Natasan is going to try to send it on the inside of turn 3. Nonohara taking a very defensive inside line in the KTM, as the AMG can't keep the speed and the grip like the KTM through that Mercedes-Benz arena. Dr. Porkchop getting closer to Barretto. He's closed the gap to within 1.5 seconds. So the AMG getting caught in an Aston Martin sandwich might be under pressure from behind in the next coming laps. This is the view from the wing of the KTM, with Natasan closing in on the straights, but through the corners, the KTM just having a bunch of grip. Down the inside goes Natasan, and that is a great late move. Able to keep it out on track and gets ahead of the KTM and into a top 5 position goes Natasan. He lined that up from miles back, and now the 42 fights back down the inside of turn number 3 and into turn 4. They're going to go side by side again, but Natasan this time able to keep the grip around the outside. Two late moves, one from Natasan, one from Nonohara, and in the end Natasan does get ahead of the KTM. But crucially, can he stay ahead? Still 12 minutes left in the race. Lots of time for Nonohara to line up a move and get past the AMG. Meanwhile, Natsusan has about 2.3 seconds to try and close down to Bottini in 4th place. Oh, very slidey from Nonohara, goes over the curb heavily, and the car getting thrown sideways as it gets back onto the track and into the gravel on the left-hand side as well. Rally Duchy challenging for the position and gets the move done on the straight and into the braking zone. Nonohara thought about fighting back, but Rally Duchy had that move done as he looks to chase down the top 5. Josh Ransom again under yellow flags here in the 325. That's the 27 of Gabriel Freire getting through after starting from the pits. Now up to 9th place. And Rally Duchy gets ahead of Alice Nonohara. Or no, Rally Duchy did get ahead of Alice Nonohara. Alice now fighting back with Rally Duchy for that 6th place position. It's KTM versus Janetta. Halfway into race number 2, still 10 minutes on the clock for the drivers to chase down the car that they are battling, and Alice Nonohara has done just that. Staying close to Rally Duchy. The front, John Kilcoyne extending his lead to 2.2 seconds over João Pedro Barreto in 2nd place, and then Dr. Porkchop just falling back a little bit further. The gap was around 1.5, now at 2.4 seconds between the 71 and the number 6 AMG in 2nd place. Then you've got Giancarlo Bottini in the 57, looking to put in some consistently quick laps as Prakash Natarajan is closing in. That gap was about 2.5 seconds a few laps ago, now down to 1.6. Oh, and Bottini runs wide. That will help Natarajan close the gap, as Bottini might come under pressure by the end of the lap here. And now with Natarajan, he's getting closer and closer, within a second now of Bottini. Just needs to try to close in just that little bit more. Under 8 minutes to go. Certainly still some time on the board, but it is beginning to tick away. Oh my goodness, looked away from the screen for 1 second and Natasan gets ahead. He's already ahead by this point. Can't clear the replay. But Bottini, I can only presume making a mistake at the chicane. As usual, you look away from the screen for 1 second to check the gaps, and something interesting has to happen. So Prakash Natasan gets ahead of Bottini, up to 4th place now for the number 82 AMG, as the number 43 AMG coming under pressure from Frere in the 27 McLaren, lining up a move down the inside of turn 7, but thinking he's gonna do it at a different opportunity here, looking to get the overspeed on the exit of the hairpin and line up a move up the Schumacher S. It's a very tricky place to go side by side, as the McLaren continues to push on and try and get ahead of Luksha for 8th place. And there he goes, getting a good overspeed moment out of turn 11 and before the braking zone of the chicane, has the position ahead of the 43 AMG. So Frere getting the move done, increasing the gap to Luksha by about a second. Don't think he'll have enough time, unfortunately, to chase down Rally Dutchy. About 11 seconds up the road, 3.5 minutes on the clock. Should be enough time for John Kilcoyne to complete 2 more racing laps here, as he has increased the gap to right around 3 seconds over Barreto, but going a little bit deep into that final corner, but able to keep the car pointed in the correct direction as the firebrand Aston Martin leads the charge with 2 laps to go. João Pedro Barreto having a good, solid race 2 as well. Just not quite close enough to the lead Aston Martin as he was in the first race to try and challenge for the win. But nonetheless, 2 podium positions, 2 second place positions also. A good way for Barreto to start off the season. and Dr. Porkchop rounding out the podium as it stands. In the 71 Chop Shop Racing Aston Martin. Got the lead in race 1, or got the win, I should say, in race 1. As we now have an inverted podium on our hands.
Give it all you can.
With the two Astons swapping positions. And there you heard it, John Kilcoyne is on his final lap of the race. Final lap of round number 1. As Josh Ransom has closed the gap to Pavel Luksha in that 43 AMG. Josh Ransom a bit too far back at the chicane to try and send a move here. He will have 1 lap left to try and take 9th place away from the AMG. Taking a slightly defensive line into turn 1 is the AMG, but stays ahead of the Ginetta here. We've seen a couple of late sends into the braking zone here at turn 3. The AMG going a little bit deep, but now has the inside for the next corner, but Josh Ransom keeps the speed around the outside. The tires gripped up nicely, and he gets around and gets 9th place. John Kilcoyne, just 1 sector left before taking the checkered flag, out in the lead of race number 2. Now just 1 corner separates him from the win. And we are going to have quite a good fight on our hands this season. I've got a good feeling about this one. John Kilcoyne takes the win in race number 2 in the Firebrand number 44 Aston Martin. João Pedro Barreto takes his second place finish of the evening in the number 6 AMG. And Dr. Porkchop with another podium here in the 71 Chop Shop Racing. Natasan in 4th. Giancarlo Bottini in 5th place. Then Alice Nonohara in the 42 KTM takes 6th. Next across the line, Rally Duchy in the 621 Ginetta takes 7th place. Good fight from the pit lane for Gabriel Frere in the 27 McLaren, finishes in 8th. Josh Ransom gets the move done on the final lap to take 9th place. Rounding out the top 10, you've got Pavel Luksha in the 43 AMG. Last but not least, in the dog box racing KTM, Hezzy Thomas unfortunately had a little bit of an incident early on, didn't quite catch what happened there. But good perseverance nonetheless from Hezzy Thomas to take the checkered flag here in round number 1 at the Nurburgring. I'd like to invite our podium sitters into the green room for a quick chat of how your guys' race went on. As we take it back to our lovely studio here, that will conclude round number 1 on track at least. Still got the interviews coming up with our top 3, who are the same from race 1 as they were in race 2. We've got the 2 Aston Martin drivers, John Kilcoyne, welcome, and Dr. Porkchop, the 2 Aston Martin drivers, welcome in. Had a bit of a role reversal there. Dr. Porkchop finishing in race 1 and on the podium in 3rd in race 2, and John Kilcoyne 3rd in the first race, 1st in the second one. How about that?
Yeah, lap one and race one was very strange. Like, I think my traction control got stuck on from the formation lap. I don't really know. I turned
Hmm.
it off, but the bar was still like brown.
Huh. Weird. Yeah, it just seems
Yeah.
like a lot of technical problems for a lot of the drivers this evening, but you two managed to kind of sneak your way through, especially you, Dr. Porkchop, there in race one. I think you started from fifth and got up to first.
Well, I benefited from everybody deconnecting
Yeah,
and having their wheel issues
I suppose that's
to
fair.
get up front. Yeah, but then pretty much I was just being chased down by the fastest drivers for the rest of the race. Was yeah, I could hear the samba music. There were like two Brazilian drivers right behind me.
Yeah, one of those Barreto here. Welcome in, trying to chase down Dr. Porkchop there in race number one. A great battle. It seemed like just couldn't quite get the move by.
Yes, it was tough because I hit him in the second lap, I think. So I get scared to fuck the race, you know. That's my fear to end this race.
Yeah, that's fair, but yeah, good fighting all the way through the end there. Good respect from you two. And John, that was a good fight back. I think you were down at seventh at one point in race number one and just fighting your way back up to that podium position.
Yeah, it was fun. I was just a sitting duck lap one. Everyone just shot past me.
Yeah, you just got off the racing line and just couldn't get back on it until like the third lap.
Yeah. I don't know. Man, I don't know.
That's just how it goes sometimes, but able to take a dominant win, though, in race number two, took pole position and didn't look back since.
Yeah, no, it was very fun, Berto chasing me, honestly. He did a great job. Like, I was under pressure the entire race.
Yeah, but at the time you get 2 seconds, I cannot catch you. Just stay calm. I made a couple of mistakes in the sector one. I think sector one I was 8 tenths of a second slower than you, so I was struggling a little bit with my setup. But it's fun. It's fun. I'm learning a lot with this racing. I practiced some. I think yesterday I practiced 30 laps with someone in the practice server, so I'm getting used to set up the car and everything else. It's my first time I think in racing in Nurburgring.
Nice, man.
I only loaded North Life by the past games, so I think I did a great job.
Yeah,
And
congrats.
I
Welcome.
want to say sorry. I want to say sorry to Park Shop because I hit him and it was pretending to be a wheel-to-wheel race, so I hit him and went to chase back, but I cannot pass him. But congrats, it's a really great race, mate. I enjoyed a lot to race it with you guys.
No worries, buddy. I totally saw you coming. I kind of had a feeling you were going to hit me there on that turn,
Yeah,
but I braced for it, and we got away with it, so it's all good.
yeah, it's everything good.
Oops.
Yeah, well done, especially for your first race in, especially at the Nurburgring. It's a tough track to get right. And yeah, congrats to all of you guys starting the season on a high note. And I think you guys will be pretty evenly matched on points after that first round, especially Dr. Porkchop and John Kilcoin. I think you two will be exactly equal. Maybe Barreto, you might even be ahead with the 2 second place finishes, depending on how the points work. So yeah, I think we're lining up for a pretty fun season ahead. Thank you guys for joining us for a quick chat here. Appreciate you guys taking the time. I'll go ahead and move you guys back here to the green room. And just like that, thanks guys. And just like that, super fun race there from in race one. Race two, a little bit more. The gaps kind of opened up here and there, but they were still able to find some good racing between them as we have the stage set for a super fun season ahead. Oh, McLaren here, paddle problems at the start. Yes, I saw that in the chat. Unfortunate. It seems like the new year has started with some technical problems, but hopefully those get resolved for the upcoming rounds. And we are able to see a full grid from start to finish. And with that being said, round one, after the interviews, has officially come to a close. we are going to get a raid set up of Boris Angel doing some iRacing. Make sure to spread the love from one sim racing community to another. Hope you all had a fun time watching the race. And it has been super fun bringing the action tonight. Tomorrow on Tuesdays, the LMU season starting up with their 8-round championship. Same with the Wednesday ACC multi-class starting up this week on Wednesdays as well. So lots to look forward to in the early stages of 2026. Thank you all for joining us. Hope you have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you may be joining us from. Thanks for joining, and we will see you next time.